Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another short class here at the Normalized Money Show. My name is Kirsten, and I have co-host JulieAnn. Julie, how are you today?
I'm very good. Welcome, everybody. This week, we're going to talk about your social security number.
Awesome. So let's just jump right into the importance of a social security number. And Julie, if you want to talk about this article that you looked up, you are a parent, I'm a parent, and how we have these conversations with our children. So why don't you go ahead?
Well, so nowadays, when you're born, you're given a social security number. And that from there, it's like we don't really talk to our kids about it and they don't even know what it is. But then as they get into their teenage years and they want to get a driver's license or they want to get a bank account to, um, you know, just do normal things, they know that, oh, a social security number, but they don't know what it is. They don't know why we have it. And this, little conversation we're having here is because we want you to understand that your social security number is a way to confirm your identity. So we don't want to give out that social security number. We don't want to just willy-nilly carry it in our wallet, and we want to be able to use that for our, you know we have to use it for just about everything, our taxes, employments, bank accounts, driver's license. So yeah, I mean, what kind of conversation have you had with your kids about it?
Well, I think the first time that it comes up relative to when our children need it is when they get their first job. And without having a photo identification and then another form of ID, which generally is going to be a social security card, um, they can't get a W-2 job without that. And so I have to pull that out of wherever I have it in a safe spot and then send it with our teenager and say, listen, you need to give them your school ID and this card for them to hire you because within 3 days, they have to make sure that you're legal to work in the United States and you're only 16 years old or even 15 and you want to start saving up or whatnot. So make sure you bring this social security card back to me. Don't lose it. Don't give it to them. But they are probably going to have someone in human resources look at the card and then write it down on that form to verify that you're legal to work. So that's the conversation that I've had to have is, bring this back. It can't be left in your wallet. And also, you can't just share the number with any company. You have to make sure it's a legitimate company.
Right. And I think, like with my daughter, I had to kind of explain to her that, like, okay, we're going to get your driver's license. This is part of them, verifying who you are and that your name matches. And so we had talked about previously on one of the other classes, and we touched lightly on credit, and we were talking about credit reports. And I said, one of the most important things that you want to do is that when you fill out those applications, when you do those credit things, that you're putting on those applications exactly what it says on your social security your card, because that's the important thing that they're going to verify and check from. And if you have a name that has a, a something that can be shortened or whatever, and you go to fill out a credit application and you put the shortened name on it but not the proper name, as the proper name would be what's on your social security card, then you're going to get another alias, and that's going to make a bad habit for you, because now you're going to have extra names. And I'm only speaking from experience because I have a name like that, and I have several names on my credit report, and I have to work diligently to make sure that my credit name and then the applications that I'm filling out are the correct name and not the shortened name.
Yeah, speaking to AKAs and then things kind of getting a little bit mixed up, um, it could become a problem. At the bank, when we give out loans, we have people write their AKAs to match their credit report and then sign something saying otherwise known as. And that can be a little bit tricky, So trying to stick with the name that's on your social security card when you are doing things like you're talking about your driver's license, anything that's legal having to do with like here, this article that we're looking at, from employment to taxes to applications for banks, driver's license, and more. And this conversation, I think for adults, it could be something that it's just so common at some point that, or maybe your parents had these conversations with you and they gave you your social security card, or you had to re-request it from the government at some point. And now we need to remember to have these conversations with our teenagers. And then if we don't, who's having the conversation? But defining that this is so important that they have this. And also social security number fraud, where people file taxes using your social security number and they get back your tax return. I think that that is one of the most prevalent fraud schemes. And that's why we don't share our social security numbers, and we keep this card put away in a safe. And so just even having a safe, some people don't have a secure place to put it. But these are all the very important details that maybe can go without speaking about. And we need to make sure that, I know in the recovery housing, a lot of the times individuals who live in our transitional housing, they don't have a birth certificate or a social security card. And that is actually what's preventing them from getting a job. And they need to take the bus or go online, but they don't even have a printer or a computer in some cases. So there are some barriers there. And if we could just work together, I think collectively, to make sure that children and adults have this social security card and they know not to lose it. Unfortunately, I think they do get stolen and things like that. But Julie, tell me, in your experience real quick, from a police officer's perspective, do you find that people that you run into, do they have their documents or no?
Well, if you're talking about people that are, down on their luck, or they've, lost a lot of things, I would say that they don't have I think I said earlier, don't carry it with you. This isn't something we want just anybody, if they come across it, that they have access to. And I think, back here's the challenge I think that people that I'm dealing with on the street right now is that when I was born, I didn't get a social security number. I didn't get a social security number until I was 16, when I went to get my driver's license. I had to apply for a social security number that they weren't just automatically given. Now, in the 2000s, or even before then, I think they just automatically give them to anybody that was born. So the people that have had that that birth date that it falls before that time, when they didn't give out social security numbers, that they're kind of behind the eight ball, in the sense that they weren't just automatically given one, that they have to go and apply for one and get one. And I remember when I was 16 and I had to get one, that it was like kind of, something my mother did. I wouldn't have known what to do. I had no idea what documents I had to have. But in a sense, to answer your question, they're basically having to do all of that stuff again. They have to show their birth certificate. They have to get it certified. So they're not only just trying to get that job, but now they're trying to verify who they are. And they don't have any, parent to go back to say, hey, where's my, this, or where's that? They have to go and try to find that. And so not having a computer to request some of these documents and to get those things, it gets real hard. So, I think a lot of the people that get removed from the situation they're in, suddenly, and they don't have access to those documents, it takes a lot to, and maybe they have somebody from social services that can help them eventually gather it, but it might take months.
So I think what we're trying to get to here is that if you have this information, hang on to it and guard it, your card, your proof. And then also, if you don't have it, please take action to get it as quickly as possible and then safeguard that. And if, things do happen, like Julie, I hear what you're saying, where somebody needs to find a new place or is removed from a situation and they can't take their documents with them, or they're in a fire, things of that nature. Things do happen, and that's okay, guys. We're going to drop a link here that says, how to get a social security number, how to apply for it. And you can read more about this here. The conversation is just important to have as to, if you don't have this, life is going to be difficult. Right, Julie? You have
Correct.
to.
Well, it just like you said, if somebody goes to get a job, that you can't pay for rent, you can't pay for food, you can't do anything without these documents. And obviously, this class is about, financial. So not only can you not get the job, but you also can't get loans, you can't get other things without these documents. And it's kind of like a twofold. Don't be giving it out to everybody that calls you, or don't be giving it out to just anybody, because it is you, and you don't want. I think one of the biggest frauds since COVID was unemployment benefits. Everybody was applying for unemployment benefits based on social security numbers that they got off the dark web. So I think that's where it gets to be frustration, is that this is a government program, this is something where they started to keep track of everybody's taxes and employments and everything, but now that the financial people have latched on, and now they verify whether or not you're actual citizen. And so yeah, I mean, it can be difficult for people to navigate when they're not familiar with the system, and they're not familiar with, they've got a lot going on as it is. So yeah, I think for us, the importance here is that you get that social security number, you have it, and that you know where to find it when you need it, but you're not just carrying it around with you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, if you guys find value in our content, please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you all next week.